Okay, boys and girls, we are going to start Chapter 1 today. Chapter 1's title in our pre-algebra book is titled Variables, Expressions, and Integers. So we're going to talk about all three of those things in much detail in this chapter. So what is a variable? Anyone have any idea? What is a variable? Adam? It's a letter. It represents any number. It's a letter. Can the letter be any letter in the alphabet? Yeah, it can be any letter. All right, what's an expression? What's an expression? Mary? Good. It's an operation that has a variable in it. What else can we say about an expression? Just a couple other things we could add. Charles? Good. It doesn't have, well, you're right. It doesn't have an answer, but give me something else we can add to that. You're right. It doesn't always have an answer. Okay. I'll give you a hint if you want. What's the difference between an expression and an equation? Good. What was the biggest difference of what you just said? Correct. And the expression does not have what? Good job. An expression never has an equal sign. So Charles basically said it, but what I wanted him to say is an expression never has an equal sign. I'm sure you've heard that before. That's a big part of this chapter. We are also going to learn about types of numbers. Well, an integer is a type of number. Anyone know, well, what is an integer? What does that mean? Emma? And? That's part of it. That's okay. Negative's perfect. Briar, you want to add to that? Is that a hand? No? Okay. Doug? Nope. Not any number. Adam? Good. Whole numbers and negative numbers. What about 0? Okay. Emma, what do you think? What were you going to say? Don't know? Okay. What do you guys think? Is 0 an integer? Jeremy?
Yes,
Okay. Okay. It is. You're right. So an integer goes from all the negative numbers, 0, and all the positive numbers. An integer does not include a decimal. We are going to talk a lot about all three of these in this chapter. So just a little overview. I'm impressed with what you guys know. Okay, I'm going to shut the light off. Just don't fall asleep on me here so you guys can see this a little bit better. Is everyone going to stay awake? All right, cool. Okay, so your goal here was to look at the chart of integers. This whole thing was, okay, addition, grids, integer. This is a great introduction to chapter 1. What was the pattern? What was going on in this box right here? What was going on? Justin, what was going on? Yep. Okay. Good. Good. So even though this is a negative here, they were still adding. 4 plus negative 1 is 3. We are doing that in this chapter. We are going to go over all those rows of integers. Blue packet, page 25. Same thing here. Negative 1 plus negative 16 is negative 17. So without a calculator, hopefully you guys remember how to do that. All we're doing is adding. So what was happening here in the blue boxes that I just drew? What was happening there? Charles? Good. Addition as well. Okay. Donatus, what do you notice about that number? Good job. The same way, this way or this way, whether you were looking at the row or the column. So I thought this was a pretty neat way to incorporate integers into this chapter, okay? Because you're kind of looking at a puzzle and you had to figure out the pattern. So yes, this is more thinking than just, here, solve these problems. Okay, so let's go on to this one. Alyssa, could you tell us for this second box here, what did you get for this column? Straight down. Yep. Good job. Okay, Zach, what did you get for this row? Good job. Awesome. Any questions on that one? Okay, Matt, what did you get for this column? Yep. Good job. Bless you. Donatus, what did you get for this row? Good job. Okay, let's do a couple more. Emma, how am I going to have you guys? Emma H, if you guys don't mind, I'll do that maybe. Emma H, what did you get for this column? Good job. Okay, Emma M. Oh, that'll be kind of a tongue twister. What did you get for this row? Good job. Okay, one more. Adam, what did you get for this column? Good. Charles, what did you get for this row? Oh, careful. Good. 25 and 5. Good. You added, right, Charles? You added them? Okay, good. Okay, so I'm just going to stop there with those. The ones that we went over, and sometimes this is how we'll go over a warm-up. Any questions on the ones we went over, Mary? Yes. Okay. This should be a positive too. So, and I think because you were subtracting some of them, Mary, because of the negatives that were there, and technically it's the same thing, but be careful here because if you have 11 things, you're taking 9 away, you still have positive 2 items left. Okay. Does that make sense? Yes. Yeah. Yeah, I would. Anytime you make a mistake on a warm-up, I would go back and change it to the correct thing. Why? You might go back and study from this. Okay, these are great problems to go back and study from. Does anyone have questions on the ones that I did not go over? And you'll get used to this. Okay, remember, sometimes I collect warm-ups. There are also times I'm going to give you guys clickers, and you will complete a warm-up by a clicker. Have you guys ever used Sensio clickers? Okay, we'll use them in here this year. Why would we do that? I get a quick evaluation and results of how you're doing. How are you doing each type of question? It's easier for me to figure out, do we need to spend more time on something? So we'll do that as well. Did you not finish? Oh, you're so funny. Okay, that's fine. We'll talk in class.
Oh, and I didn't finish the video.
We'll talk in class. Yeah, it would be great. Yes. Yeah, either way. You can ask him. Thank you. Okay. So anyways, just be prepared. Make sure your warm-up is done every time you come into class because sometimes I will collect it. Sometimes it will be a grade. Okay? All right. We're going to skip that. Okay, lesson 1.1. So now we're on to the note packet, which is your yellow packet. And we're on page 1. So we have about 25 minutes left. Typically, we have more than this time, but I'm still getting guys used to all the procedures and expectations. So for today, we're going to finish this lesson. Your homework will be just on this lesson, which is expressions and variables. So we're going to talk about evaluating and writing expressions. So on page 1 of your notes, do you guys see where the objective is? Typically, I have students write down the objective. Why do I do that? See where the objective is? Go ahead and write that down. Why would I do that? So that you know what we're learning today. So go ahead where it says objective and write down to evaluate and write variable expressions. You're going to put notes in here though, right? Okay. Or you could write a shortened version of it. Evaluate and write expressions. So just jot something down so you know what we're doing today. Is everyone okay with the light off? In the back, can you guys see okay? All the slides are not red, I promise. If they were, that would be kind of annoying, huh? Kind of hard to see. Yes. You okay? It's up here. Yep, it's right here. Adam? Okay. Oh, thank you, Emma. Do you have an extra one? Oh, good. Thank you. If not, Adam, if that happens again, don't forget under the pencil sharpener, there's those golf pencils. Okay. All right, so let's do this together. This is just, I call it a warm-up, but really this is just the intro to our lesson. So this is very easy, but we're adding integers. So Sean, what's 5 plus 6? Good job. Adam, what's 13 times 3? Good. Breyer, what's 108 divided by 12? You can think for a minute. Yep, good job. Okay, my next question is, how do you do number 4? Just want to see what you guys know. Justin? Good, you could use 24, but good. We need to find a common denominator. So what does that mean? The fraction, the number on the bottom, has to be the same. So Emma M, what is the correct fraction then, going from 5/6 to something over 12? Good. Charles, what would the next fraction be? Great job. So Emma H, what's the answer? Say that again. Good job. 1/12. Leave the denominator alone, subtract the numerator. All right, so you guys are experts, right? We're going to do more problems like this, but not until the next chapter. Okay, couple definitions, and then we're going to do some problems. So numerical expression. So what is a numerical expression? Well, numerical means numbers. So it consists of numbers and operations. An operation is anything like addition, subtraction, multiplication, division. Okay, so that's the first definition. You can jot down the definition in any way that you want. Okay, so numerical expression is the first definition. Jot something down. You can shorten what I said. You can shorten what's on the smartboard. That's completely up to you. So numerical expression consists of numbers and operations. So we could have something like 8 plus 3. Anything like the warm-up. Those are all numerical expressions. Variable. And someone told us this before we started the notes today. A letter used to represent one or more numbers. A letter or variable used to represent one or more numbers. You can use any letter of the alphabet. Any letter of the alphabet. I typically use X a lot. It's something you'll see when you get to the upper level math classes is X being used a lot. When we graph, you'll see Y and X used. So those are the most common letters of the alphabet that the book we use this year uses and that I'll use during class. I'm just going to put here X, comma, Y. You'll typically see a fancy X, but it doesn't have to be fancy. Okay, a variable expression. So it's kind of like we're combining these two, bless you, numerical expression and variable. It's kind of like we're combining those two. Variable expression consists of numbers, variables, and operations. So we might have negative 10x plus 1. We might have negative 10x plus 1. Remember, an expression never has an equal sign. An equation always does. Remember, when I collect your note packets, you make sure you have something written down, but it does not have to be exactly what's up there. Sean? Yep. Yep. The yellow one is the notes, and then the blue packet is the homework packet. No, I won't ever collect the whole binder. That's for you guys to organize how you want, but the note packet is important to me because later on in your life, you need to know how to take good notes. So that's why I grade you guys on the notes. Justin? We're going to need that later on, but you can. That's completely up to you. Any other questions so far, either on the definitions or on anything about your binder? Okay, the next term is evaluate a variable expression. When you guys hear the word evaluate, what does that mean? Evaluate. Donatus? Good, solve. You're trying to find an answer to something. You're solving. So you will hear evaluate a lot this year. We're solving for something. We're trying to find an answer. Jeremy? Oh, yeah, I'm sorry. My fault. You're welcome, my fault. Sorry, guys, hold on. We're back to the other page. Okay, sorry, it's going to take me a couple days to figure out the pacing, so my fault. Okay. So evaluate a variable expression. We are substituting a number for each variable and evaluate the resulting numerical expression. So for evaluate, I'm going to put the word solve underneath it. Evaluate is the same thing as solve. We are solving for something. Okay, last definition, then we're going to do some problems. Verbal model. So kind of like a word problem, kind of like an expression that just has words. It describes a problem using words as labels, and it uses math symbols to relate the words. So I might say, I am 3 times as old as all of you, which is not exactly true. You might say, you eat 2 times as much junk food as your parents. Okay, there's a lot of verbal models that you can use to describe situations in your life. Anything, maybe even your family's life. Doug, did you have an example? Go ahead. Are you serious? Good, that's awesome. I didn't know if you were being sarcastic. Okay, good. I didn't know if you were being sarcastic. Well, that's good that you're healthy. It's important. Does anyone else not eat much junk food? Because I don't either. Okay, good. Very good. Oh, I'm impressed, guys. Now, I'll ask the 9th and 10th graders that today. I'm sure they eat a lot of junk food. I'm sure. Doug? Good. That's very good. So, yeah, good. So verbal model, just like we described, uses words and labels and math symbols to relate words. There's a lot of things we could use to write a verbal model. Evaluate means solve. Don't forget that. When you guys are done with that, I want you to take a look at the chart below. And look at the first one. I want you to figure out what they're trying to do there. These are very important. Mary, what do you think? Good. They want to multiply 3 by n. Mary, why do they have 3 different representations of that, though? Do you know why? Yep. Anyone want to add anything? She's exactly right. Justin? Exactly. Exactly. Sometimes you don't need a dot or an X. Are you guys okay if I flip? You guys can take your time. Okay, so here's what this means. This 3 and this n, so there's a parenthesis around the n. They're right next to each other. That means multiplication. So I want you to write for the operation, multiplication. The 3 dot and the n also means multiplication. The 3 next to the n also means multiplication. So the meaning they want us to write down is 3 times n. We could also see, and don't write this down, but we could also see 3 and then an x and then an n. Why would I tell you not to write it like that? Alyssa? Exactly. This x could be referred to as the variable instead of multiplication. I will never write multiplication like that. This book we're using this year, very few times they write things like that. So do not try to get away from that, writing multiplication with that little x, okay? I almost think they probably should always teach it with a little dot, okay? Because it means the same thing. Doug? That's good. Yes. Should always use, the dot is what you'll see a lot of the times. Parentheses also. These 2 numbers next to each other just mean multiply, multiply, multiply. Donatus? Okay, that's great. Yeah, I didn't know that. That's great. Thank you for telling me that. And they should do that here as well in the United States. Don't you think? Makes more sense. That's awesome. I did not know that. I learned something today. Mary? I don't know. I guess they just like to confuse us. That's a great question. I don't know. Well, if you think of division, you could write division a couple other ways too, because you could write division like that. Right, and a slash. So division kind of goes along with that annoyingness of there's many ways to write it. So don't have an answer to that. If I invented math, I would have a great answer for that, but I don't. Okay, so first one's multiplication. Remember, you can use parentheses, you can use a dot, or it can be right next to each other. Okay, I found after the 4 years of teaching this course, some people in this class get confused that there's 3 different ways. Remember, there's 3 different ways. Okay? All right, so the next one. How do we say that, Alex? How would we explain the meaning of the second one? Okay? Yes, so 7 divided by A. Okay, Sean, what's the operation for the second one? Good. So 7 divided by A, operation is division. Adam? Go ahead.
Last year, I think we learned that the variable always comes after the clockwise.
Yes, you're exactly right. I will get to that in a couple chapters with you as to why, but basically, the coefficient always goes first. When you write something, this is going to be a lot. It's called standard form. You have to put it in the order of degrees. So the real reason is this number has a degree of 0. This number has a degree, this letter, I should say, has a degree of 1. So you always put it in something called standard form. I'll get to that. That might not make sense right now. For now, I want you guys to remember the coefficient, which is the number, always goes before the variables. Okay? Adam, this might help. If I had something like this, this is in the correct order because you want to have the highest exponent first down to the smallest one. The numbers always go in front. So I could even add on, let me do another one. For x to the third, y to the second, z. So the number always goes first, but the variables go in order from the highest exponent down to the smallest. The question you're asking is in a couple chapters, but I wanted to kind of answer it. Does that make a little bit of sense? Okay. Mary, did you have a question? Okay. Hopefully that didn't go over your heads, but I know you guys are going to ask questions sometimes that are going to be advanced, that we won't see for a couple chapters. Please ask them, okay? I will explain it in a shortened version. We will see it this year, I promise. The degrees in a short summary just mean what the exponent is. The degree of 3 is this one because you would write x 3 times. Does that make sense? Kind of. We'll get to it, promise. You'll have a full understanding of everything. Okay, the next one. Charles, what does this mean? Good. 9 plus d. Matt, what is the operation? Good. Last one, Emma, M. Good. 8 minus g. Jeremy, what's the operation? Good. Okay, so I will summarize again. The most important thing here is to remember there's 3 different ways to write multiplication problems. Please do not use the little x, okay? Use the dot, the parentheses, or have the number right next to the letter, the variable, okay? Any questions on that page of notes? Sean? Yeah, go ahead. You can, but I would still try to tell you guys, encourage you not to, because so you could still have something like this. Now, depending on how people write it, it could look like 2x3 instead of 2 times 3. What I would do is this. You know what I mean? That means 2 times 3. Why would I tell you not to do this with numbers? Why would that maybe not be a good idea, Briar? Yes. It could look like a decimal. We don't want it to look like 2.3. So if you have two numbers, I would still, this is the best way to write it. If you have two numbers and you're multiplying them, I would write them with parentheses. Charles? Exactly. If you put them right next to each other, it's going to look like 23. I can't read your mind. That makes no sense, right? So exactly. Great input there. So use the parentheses. That way there's not any issues. If I'm grading a test, if you're doing homework, we all know it means multiplication, right? Okay. Any other questions or comments on this page? Jeremy? Here. You're welcome. Anyone else? Okay. All right. We are going to evaluate expressions, okay? Evaluate means solve. So let's just try a couple of these. You flip over to the next page. We need to evaluate the expression when c equals 5. Let me have you flip over. You can come back to that in a couple minutes, okay? That way you're with us. So we're solving, okay? This is our first set of expressions. If we're evaluating something, I'm going to circle the 5. We are plugging and chugging. In other words, we are substituting it in for c. So we need to figure out what 7 times 5 is. So here's another example of, well, we're multiplying two numbers, so I'm going to use those parentheses so we know that it's multiplication and we don't think it's the number 75 or 7.5. Okay, Zach, what's 7 times 5? Good job. So easy enough, right? Multiply them. Use your parentheses there. Number 2, we are evaluating when c is 5. Okay, so we're still plugging that 5 in for c. We have 54 divided by 5. So either as a decimal or a mixed number, what is 54 divided by 5? Donatus? Good, 10.8, or? Good job, either 10.8 or 10 4/5. So if you're not sure how he thought through that, you could ask yourself, how many times does 5 go into 54? Well, it goes in 10 times, and there's 4 left over. If there's 4 left over, your denominator is 5. If that doesn't make sense, we'll get to that too in 2 chapters from now. Okay, does that make sense, those 2 problems when you're evaluating? You're taking what C is, plugging it in. Give me a head nod. Does that make sense? A lot of times I'll ask you for a thumbs up, thumbs middle, thumbs down. If it makes sense, you give me a thumbs up. If you're not sure, you give me a thumbs in the middle. If you're completely lost, you give me a thumbs down. So what do you think about those 2 problems? Thumbs up, thumbs in the middle, thumbs down. Okay, and I always be honest with me. Thank you. It's my quick way of assessing and making sure that you guys know what you're doing. Okay, let's go to a word problem. So I'm going to skip to number 10. I skip around in the notes sometimes. Why would I do that? If I think you guys know what you're doing, why are we going to keep doing problems? We're going to move ahead, okay, to some of the application. So we are not going to always complete every single problem in the packet. So just keep that in mind. That means you need to stay with me. Stay on your toes, because I'll jump around a lot. So I don't want you to see you like daydreaming and then I call on you and you have no clue where I am. Okay? Doug? No, not at all. If you want to, you can, but no. Nope. Okay, so number 10. So this will be exciting. So you guys all have a bank account. Who has a bank account? Raise your hand. Wow, where's your bank account? Donatus, where's your bank? You don't know, that's not good. So we could take your money. How much is there? A lot of money? Okay, awesome. Have you saved that all on your own? Wow, I'm impressed. Emma M. Me too. Very cool. Charles. Okay, PNC, that's where my fiance works. That's a great bank as well. Sean, you don't know, but you have one. Okay. Your mom takes all your old money. I hope she listens to this recording and hears that. That's so funny. Mary? Okay, great bank. Doug? You have 3. Okay. So you could take us to a math Caribbean field trip. We could go to the beach and have math class. I'm just kidding. Doug's looking at me like, maybe. Just kidding. That would be the first ever, right? Miss Galliotta's accelerated math class field trip to the Caribbean. Justin. Oh, yeah. Oh, and I'm sure you will. If you guys don't have one, I didn't expect more than half of you to have a bank account now. If you don't have one yet, you'll get one. Okay? You'll get one. And then you'll learn how to balance your checkbook, keep track of everything. Charles? Yes, you may. Thank you for asking. Jeremy? Okay, well, that's probably good for now. Okay, Doug, we'll hold on for that for now. Briar, hold on for that for now. Okay, number 10. So let's pretend like we all only have $120 in our bank account. That's it, okay? We need to write and evaluate an expression to find the amount in your bank account after we deposit $28. So we need to write an expression, which means we do not have an equal sign. So if we are depositing $28, let's use deposit as letter D. So we're going to write an expression, okay? It's going to have a number and a variable. We're using that letter D to represent the amount we are depositing. So using a number and a variable, how can we represent an expression for this scenario? Adam, what do you think? Good. 120 plus D. You currently have $120 in your bank account, plus we are depositing $28. Okay? Doug? No, we are adding it to the account. Very good question. I probably should have explained that. I assumed you guys knew what that meant. So if you're depositing money, you are adding it to your account. If you are withdrawing money, you are taking it out of your account. That's okay. We're going to work on that this year. Okay. We'll test you on that this year. Deposit, we're putting money into the account, so it's a credit. It's a plus sign. Deposit is always you're adding it. If you're withdrawing, think of like withdrawal as you're withdrawn from something, taking it back. You're taking it out. Very good question. Any questions like that, please ask. Withdrawing, taking money out. So if we have 120 plus the $28 deposit, how much money is in our bank account? Adam? Good. We are up to $148. How many video games can you guys buy with that? About 3? Give or take? Justin? Yeah, I know. That's why I said about 3. Yeah, true. If they're used. Okay. True. So girls, how many pairs of shoes can we buy with that? I'll ask girls about something. Probably a lot. Mary, what do you think? Yeah, I agree with that. And sometimes it's good to get the good quality shoes so your feet don't hurt. I completely agree. So, all right. We are going to stop there with the notes because I don't want to run out of time here. Are there any questions on what we've done so far? Okay, so I need everyone to open up the blue packet, which is your homework packet. We'll finish up those notes tomorrow. So hold on before I am sure with that. I want you to take a look at practice 1.1, which is the first one. Okay, and I do want you to do the whole thing. I want to do one problem with you, though, just to make sure you're okay with something. Okay, so 1.1 is the first page. Oh, yeah. And what I'll do when I assign homework is I'll explain it to you, okay? Now, part of it is going to be probably maybe a little bit more difficult because I didn't finish the complete lesson on the notes, but chapter 1 in this book is a review, so I don't think it should be an issue, okay? That's why I'm assigning the whole thing. If it's new material, I won't do that. Okay, so on your homework, 1 through 17 we did in class. You are evaluating the expression. So you're plugging the numbers in and you're simplifying. Okay, I want everyone to flip over. Take a look at number 18. We're going to do this one together. Okay, number 18. How would we do this? It says, write a variable expression to represent the phrase. A number added to 27. So I didn't actually do this in the notes with you, but you guys have done this before. A number added to 27. How do we do this? Alex, you have an idea? Yep, 27 plus n. Could it be any letter? Does it have to be n? No, it can be any letter, right? Justin? That's fine. You can do that. What I do, I have a bad habit. I always use X. But using the noun, that's fine. The reason I use X a lot is because a lot of math books will stick to X. You guys can use any letter you want. That does not matter to me. So 18 through 25 are like that. But I have one more question for you. Quotient. What's another word for quotient? Alyssa? Awesome. Answer to a division problem. What's another word for product? Adam? Good. Answer to a multiplication problem. Okay, you guys are too smart for this homework. So this homework should be easy. In addition to that, just a reminder, Blackboard login, online book login. By Friday, try those. If you would like to bring in, at most, 2 boxes of Kleenexes, I will give you some extra credit in the homework column of the grade book. Okay, remember, I don't do that very often. It's up to you. Also, what do you need to remember about the books? Sean? Yeah, book cover, whether you use one of mine one morning when you come in or bring one of yours in, I'll give you 2 weeks for that. So by the end of next Friday, I'd like your book to be covered. Okay? Doug? Yep, front and back. Yes, so 1.1, front and back. Justin? I would, yes. I would, if you didn't already, I would bring your assignment book to class. I always have everything posted on the homework board, and I will always have a homework smart board at the end of class, the presentation. So yes, I think that's a great idea to bring your assignment book. Okay. Yes, Adam.
Last year, I was curious after they finished.
Okay.
In our school, kids went down to engaging and like take whatever they
Yep, that could be a possibility. Wait to see what they tell you because every elementary school is different with that. Mary? Yes. Leave it generic. So don't solve it. Leave it as an expression with a number and a variable. Does that make sense? Sean? Yep. There's a little thing, and I have at the top of Blackboard, I think I still have it up there, that I explain how to do that. If not, I'll put it up there. Yes, in the top of the Blackboard course, when you log into Blackboard, there should be a little tab that says Student and Gmail. Basically, when you do figure out how to use the email from Blackboard, it emails me to my work email. So I will make a note. I'll take care of that today if it's not already in there. Do you guys have Gmail? Gmail should work at your school. Okay. Okay. If you don't want to email me from Blackboard, you don't have to use Gmail. But there should be Gmail accounts you guys can use, but I will work on the Blackboard email. Yes? And, that means and. It's just the and symbol. Doug? Okay.